Rockets.
Rockets?
Yeah. Sengun, I've seen enough of it.
Ian Rappaport reporting the Ravens are giving Lamar the non-exclusive tag.
Uh-oh.
So now it's time to play a game called Who Should Call Lamar and or the Ravens.
Yeah.
Offer 2 picks and a nice big deal.
Yep.
To try to get the former MVP on their team. Nick, give
All
me
right.
your first pick.
Well, don't
First drop
pick.
them all. Just kind of drips and drabs.
Okay, well, I said Atlanta earlier, but then Diana Rossini said Atlanta's out.
Okay, you look foolish then.
Okay, well, I'm telling you what I think they
You
should
thought
do.
that was there.
I think that one makes a ton of sense. Him, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, on turf, in the city of Atlanta. I like it a lot. Sneaky one.
Oh.
The Giants don't have to stick with Daniel Jones.
Saquon Barkley.
Use your franchise tag on Daniel Jones
And
sign Lamar. I'm sorry, use your franchise tag on Saquon, pardon me. Sign Lamar.
Need some receivers.
And then sign some receivers. Maybe Odell. A little.
I mean, it's,
what?
It's too weird.
Why is it weird?
Bizarre. Because we're expecting Daniel Jones news to come in the next 20
But it hasn't yet.
20 minutes.
It hasn't yet.
Okay.
I'm
I'm not buying that one, but it's a good way to start the segment off with some spice.
Okay.
But you may have.
I'm sorry. I never have my computer open, but I have every team's cap space here because I'm doing.
You don't have that memorized?
Not exactly. It's close. But I just want to. I don't want to throw out a team that is has no chance of getting him the contract. But go ahead, bro.
Well, how about Miami? You got some receivers that can run with after the catch. Oh my! Now I don't know what their cap situation is, but I think teams can maneuver.
It's not great.
The way they want to. If they really want to get it done, and obviously you'd end up trading Tua. But look, I've talked about the Jets. You mentioned Detroit. I think that's great. I mean, what team shouldn't?
Well, so that's.
I mean, really, Pittsburgh, Tennessee.
Pittsburgh's not doing it because they like Pickett. I don't know why. It's tiny hands, but they like.
I mean, I like him too, but not like Lamar Jackson. How about Tennessee?
Yeah.
I mean, Seattle. I know they just signed Geno. You can trade Geno.
Jeez, all right.
No, that one they can't do.
Why not?
If they actually signed that contract, they can't do it. Just trust me.
That's why signed them
that one can't happen. But what about Washington?
Yeah, I mean,
Washington's
look, you're
in a
that
weird
division,
spot because of the ownership situation. Like, are they allowed to make a big move? I'll throw another one because Dusty reminded us and made the point. Because you give up 2 first-round picks. So you're thinking a team like Miami doesn't have first-round pick right now. But anything, once the draft happens, then it just rolls over to next year's 2 picks.
And Lamar can control it, right?
Of course, whenever he signs.
If he knows Miami wants him.
Of course. What about Houston? What about Houston right now is the number 2 pick? But they don't have to use that number 2 pick. You can wait until they've already drafted someone, number 2, or they trade it, and they sign it. My point is
they got a lot of
push
picks.
back on Houston. Wouldn't you just draft a quarterback, get that rookie deal, try to build the team?
Right.
D'Amico has
especially
a longer
with all the
runway.
picks they have.
No.
Yeah.
Probably. I guess my point is when I look up and down this list, I said it earlier and you laughed at it. If I'm Bill Belichick, I'm having this conversation. Folks were putting him on the hot seat, Wilds.
That was not.
But he should have.
Local media nonsense.
Wilds, wouldn't you admit they have to have the
They
conversation?
have to have the conversation.
Internally. If you're the Patriots, you have to have that conversation.
Let me ask you a question. Who's his offensive coordinator now? Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien. Who was his success with? Deshaun.
Yep.
Now, Deshaun and Lamar are not the same quarterback, but I think in some ways, Lamar, I think some people hope Lamar can turn into the type of quarterback Deshaun was on the field, which is where his mobility is a supporting actor to the movie instead of the star. Now, Deshaun's not as good of a runner, obviously, as Lamar. But a mobile, dynamic quarterback, Bill O'Brien's what he had success with. And Belichick's old.
Are you serious?
No, I would not have the conversation. Look, if it happens, I would obviously be on Team Lamar. But here's why it won't happen, just practically. Bill Belichick values those number 1 draft picks too much. He still likes the rookie contract that Mac Jones is on. Build the team around it. And I don't think if you're going to say who Bill O'Brien had success with, Bill O'Brien had the most success with Tom Brady. I don't think necessarily.
Okay, no, that's
what I mean.
No, that's a good point.
Can I push? It's still the Jets, and here's why I think the Jets are playing a dangerous game, and we mentioned it earlier. Suppose the Jets say, you know what? Let's turn the plane around, like Chris Broussard said. Leave Aaron Rodgers. Have a quick meeting. You know what? We were going to have a full dinner.
Nice little meeting.
Can we, do that one? Like, hey, can we make it coffee instead? Because we got to go. So they do that. Make an offer to Lamar. Then the Ravens match that offer, and now Aaron Rodgers is kind of jilted. All of a sudden, the Jets are back there with Flacco.
Jimmy G for you.
I just want to read, because there's a lot of this, some of the CBA and franchise tag stuff is convoluted, not interesting, but it is important. I want to make sure the audience understands. Lamar can wait to sign this as long as he wants, up until it's either week 9 or week 10 of the season. And so I'm not saying that I think he's going to do that, but if he doesn't get and by the way, he can be negotiating with other teams that entire time as well.
Right.
If he does not get the offer that he wants from another team, I would be shocked if he signs this a day before, 72 hours before the first game.
That would be a disaster, right?
But if let me ask you this. If he doesn't get the offer over the summer that he wants, so you think he'll just continue to sit out? Why would he get that offer in week 4 or week 6?
No. I just think he's not going to play. I think he's not going to play in at a minimum, he's going to miss training camp. That's why I think this is such bad business by Baltimore. You think Lamar, who didn't seem all that interested in playing at the end of the regular season, is going to sign up to play preseason football? Training camp football for a team that's going to pay him what the Giants pay Daniel Jones? So if he doesn't come to terms with another team, they match or they don't match, I think the earliest you would see Lamar is a couple days before week 1. The earliest. And if he wanted to wait until mid-season, he absolutely could with no penalty.
Yeah, that would be
no
bad.
penalty whatsoever.
That'd be
Now you're messing with your career.
Be bad for who?
Be bad for Lamar.
Who would it be worse for? The Ravens. Who
bad
can't
for
win
both
without
of them.
him.
So now great.
Yeah.
Now they're both sunk.
Sometimes, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only person who lives in a world where that happens all the time. Where we see people literally fight in a divorce over money, and they fight so hard they spend all the money they were fighting over because they are so angry at the other person. I see that happen all the time. We see people act against their best interests.
Divorce.
This is damn mediation at the very least. This is marriage counseling.
He hasn't made, you mentioned it, he hasn't made a ton of money in his career.
Yeah.
Is he just going to sit there and watch $30 million,
But if he shows up at week 1, he gets the full $30 million.
And then they'll play, yeah.
Welcome back to an exciting day in the NFL. We just got some Lamar Jackson news. We also have Aaron Rodgers news. The report, the Jets are flying to meet with Rodgers today. Brew, you said something interesting, that the Jets should turn the plane around and go meet with Lamar Jackson, making Rodgers second. So here's where I want to kick off this conversation. I think Aaron Rodgers is a sensitive guy. Okay. If he thinks that he's number 2 on the Jets list, I bet this all falls apart. If they
What's
flirt
he gonna
a little,
do? If the Packers are ready to move on, what other team? We don't know that the Raiders want him. It seems like Josh McDaniels wants Garoppolo, or even Mac Jones is out there. At least to talk.
Sure.
But I'm just saying. So what is Rodgers going to do? Because I'm not sure he wants to play for the Jets. What I feel certain about is that he wants his $60 million.
Sure.
And if he can't get it playing in Green Bay, if they want to start Jordan Love or they're ready to move on, then sure, I'll go play for the Jets. They're a pretty good team. But is he excited about working with new young receivers like he was last year? No. So I think this is partially about Aaron Rodgers just wanting the money. So if he's offended and he ends up being their second choice and they don't get Lamar, guess what? He probably still go there so he can get his money.
Well, listen, I think the while you and I think that they should prefer Lamar, I think the Jets likely prefer Aaron. They hired Nat Hackett. It's not for his clock management seminars. There is oddly, even though he's very expensive, a cost certainty with Aaron, and it's far. I don't know what the trade would be, but ain't gonna be no 2 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers. So he's going to be cheaper long-term cap-wise. He's going to be cheaper draft pick-wise, and you hired Nat Hackett to where what you have to run a. I shouldn't say you have to, but Lamar's only run one type of offense in his NFL career. Now, in college, he actually ran a pro-style offense at Louisville, but as the pros, he wasn't running what Nat Hackett is trying to run. So I think the Jets prefer Rodgers. I think the Jets, the thing is this. We found out 25 minutes ago that Lamar was getting the non-exclusive tag, and we knew it was possible. The Jets got on the plane like 2 hours and 25 minutes ago. If they were that worried about the Lamar part of it, they could have, you know what I mean? There's ice on the tarmac, give us a minute here, and wait till the news comes down. So I think the Jets prefer Rodgers in this scenario, and I think they've been building towards that. We touched on this at the very end, but I think it's worth reiterating. The one thing that I would want, one of the things from Rodgers, is a commitment about the offseason program. Now, I feel conflicted about this because I hate that during the last collective bargaining agreement, the owners gave the players optional workouts, fewer days, and then they did it kind of with a wink and nod to the media of, but you guys will pressure the players to show up for all of it anyway, right? And we all have been complicit in that. Mahomes gets all the flowers for not only going to the optional stuff, but holding his own extracurriculars in Texas. And it's part of the story of why they win the Super Bowl. So I understand the principled reason of, I'll show up to what I'm paid to show up for. With that said, Rodgers at this point in his career, I think, is only playing to win another championship, the money too. The money's going to be there. And in order to win the other championship, if you're going to a new team, getting extra reps with Garrett Wilson and all of that is wildly important. Yeah. And because it's a short-term experiment for the Jets, I would want to hear from Rodgers that he's going to be, he doesn't have to hold his own workouts, but he's going to be there for the whole offseason.
Brew, when we had Greg Jennings on, we floated this Jets theory around, and Greg poo-pooed it.
Right.
Because he said, no way he wants to follow the same path